What's up, everybody? Kier Gomes here, and welcome to Way Back Wednesday, episode 17. In case you're not familiar, Way Back Wednesday is a series on this channel where we talk about playing cards from 2013, 2014, 2015, 16, 17. Basically, any decks that you may have missed out on if you're new to the cardistry and Magic community. In today's episode, we are going to be going over the Mono X playing cards by Luke Wadey. This is definitely my favorite deck by Luke Wadey so far. I can't wait to get the zeros because I know that those are going to be my new favorite. But until then, these are a real jewel, real gem in my collection, so I'm so excited to do this review for you. Before we get started, please do drop a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Without further ado, let's roll that intro and get you guys on your way. First of all, big shout out to Luke Wadey. Not only is he a buddy of mine, but he is somebody that I really look up to and very much admire in the playing card design arena. As most of you know, I recently announced a deck that I'm working on with Nick Nisko over at Elemental Playing Cards. Luke is one of the select few people, along with a few other trusted consultants, that we have showed the back design to get some feedback, some notes. So if you know Luke Wadey, he's behind the grid decks, the Mono X. He's got such a unique style, and he's just kind of a visionary in that way. So I'm honored to be able to do this review. So let's get into it. The tuck case is done in all black and white glossy card stock, as you can see. The front of the tuck case has about half, a little bit more than half of the back design of the cards, which, as you can see, is kind of fading from white at the bottom to a more gray and black up top. It says Mono X on the front. Both sides say the exact same thing. It says Mono X, designed by Luke Wadey and manufactured by the United States Playing Card Company. The bottom has some USPCC ad copy, but it's in gray, so it's a little bit difficult to see, but I think that's okay. On the top, you can see a capital L. Presumably that would be L for Luke. And then you see this X on the other side. You do get a custom seal. It says Mono X, and then just has an X on it, which takes us to the back design, which is kind of the second half of the back design of the cards, and again says Mono X with this circle and a capital L on it. Just by the tuck case, I mean, this is something that if you see somebody holding it, I mean, you know shit's about to go down. It's a very alluring tuck case, so really into it. You get another X on the tongue flap right there. And that's enough of that. Let's take a look at the cards. All right, so this is a look at the back design of the cards. As you can see, it sort of has a white border, but it's not defined. In fact, the lack of definition, I think, is part of what makes this deck so unique to me. You can see it makes out the shape of an X, and there's just kind of all of these black lines. Some are more fine than others, which gives it this kind of fading element, and you can see that the ink actually fades out towards the top. This is something that I have never seen before done like this on a deck of cards, and I really like the way that it looks, especially in a fan. So if you look, you get this really beautiful contrasted fan. It almost looks like it's white with just these black lines going through it, and I absolutely love that, especially for cardistry. All right, so your jokers are also really cool. They say Joker on them, but it makes up an X, so it's the word Joker and it's crossing. And then you can see on the faces too, it has these little black stripes aiming upward or downward depending on how you're looking at the card, but it actually makes for really cool fans with the faces as well, so I'll show you that in a second. Both jokers are the same, which I think is a win. These cards just feel so good. Woo-hoo-hoo. You get a nice big spade pip in the middle, again with these kind of fading lines that make it look like it's kind of just deteriorating into space. Looks really amazing. I love this Ace of Spades very much. Then it says Mono X 2018. Seeing that it is getting closer to 2020, I feel like this qualifies for a Way Back Wednesday. You can also see by the indices that this is a custom index design, so we're going to talk more about that right now. The faces of the cards, as you can see, are also completely custom, so that means we got a lot to get through, so let's just dive in. The cards have been stripped of all color. You can see it is completely black and white, and Half of the pips have been made up of that kind of fading line work, and every single card has these kind of fading stripes on the faces, so it looks really, really good. That's what spades look like, hearts. You can see there's no red on this deck. It is completely black and white, which I think really, really works, especially for, I think the intended purpose of this deck was just to be a piece of art, and it really, really works. I absolutely love the faces of these cards. This isn't necessarily a deck that I would use for Magic, although technically you could. It's not a confusing deck. The customization isn't confusing, but this is just a deck that you want to sit down with and admire for how beautiful it is. And I'm not just saying that because I love Luke, even though I do, but I really do. I mean, I love Luke because I love his work. So, really nice faces, as you can see. It's like taking standard and just thinking, what if we changed it? And what if we made it a little bit more modern or a little bit more artistic? Or what if we really took some time to sit down and think about what works for the theme of this deck? It's art. It's just pure art. Also, these cards feel fantastic. Ooh. Speaking of how good these cards look, that is about it for the design of the deck. Let's switch angles now, talk about how they handle. Okay, so in terms of the handling of this deck, it is on USPCC stock. Ooh. I believe it is crushed bicycle stock, so it feels very good. It's extremely thin and very soft. I have worn this deck in quite a bit, as you can probably tell, and it still fans beautifully. Ooh. It's also just in that sweet spot where packet cuts and things like that are a lot easier. Just because the cards have had some work. Still springs, no problem. I love the way this deck looks under pressure though, check this out. Ooh, so good. Probably see a better one in the trailer, but there you go. If I had to compare this deck to another deck, just based off of the thickness and the way it feels, I would say grab yourself a deck of first playing cards. And then if not those, maybe like the Gemini Superfly Royale playing cards feel just like that. Very thin, feel really, really good. This is what they look like in a fan. And you know, believe it or not, I don't think I've ever done a giant fan with this deck. So let's see how they faro and do a giant fan. The cards definitely faro best from top to bottom, as you can see. And they look really dope in a giant fan. Or a half giant fan, I don't really know. I never do giant fans, so I'm not that good at them. I love it. Looks really good in a spring. I'll give you another one of those. Ooh, very nice. Even in a dribble looks cool, just like with these. This design is like, this deck was obviously made for movement, so definitely one of those decks that you could do cardistry with, and even if you're not into cardistry, just a deck where every time you fan it, spring it, spread it, it's just gonna look great in your hands. It's a very, very photogenic deck. I'm actually ashamed that I haven't taken more pictures or filmed more content with this deck, because I absolutely love it so much. Yeah, so in terms of handling, this deck gets an A++. Not just because of how good it handles, even though it does, but just how it looks when it's being handled. Look at this. Even somebody with as little cardistry skills as me makes this deck look really, really nice. So in more capable hands, I can only imagine just how good this deck would look. And there you go. Well guys, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Way Back Wednesday and my review of the Mono X playing cards by Luke Wadey. You guys, if you haven't yet, go check this dude out. He is not only a very humble, very great guy, his designs are fire, pure fire. They're really, really good. He actually just got funded for his latest project, which is the Mono Zero deck, I believe it is. Really nice design. I'll put that right here so you can see it. It's really, really nice. I personally backed it. I can't wait to get it and review it for you guys. And if you haven't had the chance to check out any of Luke's decks yet, please do. You are seriously missing out. The guy's just super creative. And of course, guys, please don't forget to drop a like on this video if you liked it, and I hope you'll consider subscribing for more awesome content just like this. If you haven't heard the news yet, I did announce the deck that I'm working on, and I did a little bit of an AMA for it, but we have so much on the forefront to promote this deck. There's a ton of content that we're working on. Me and Nick are working very hard on making sure that you guys love this deck, so I'm super excited. Make sure you follow me on Instagram for updates on that. I'll link that below. All that being said, I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day. I know I will. And I'll see you guys this weekend. Peace.